Good morning, buona dominazza. Welcome back to my channel. I thought today would be super fun to do a chatty get ready with me. I actually got a request to do a makeup routine. My makeup routine is really minimal, but I thought it'd be fun to do a chatty get ready with me life update and just talking about our transition back into the States and how we are doing. All of the things, life. There have been so many changes that we've made to our lifestyle since moving abroad, and a lot of that is like product changes, cutting out toxins, fragrances, stuff like that. So our transition back into the States honestly has been so good. Romania was an amazing year, but honestly, it was one of the hardest years I have had. It was so different. There were so many things to learn, so many things to adjust to. Like, we literally went into that experience with no knowledge, completely blind. So we had to learn everything from scratch. We didn't have people like holding our hands and helping us transition or get into that experience. It was really shocking, honestly. I don't think I finally started getting used to it until like 10 months. And by that point, like, we had already decided that we were moving back to the States. So it kind of just felt like a super long vacation for us. But honestly, the experience was life-changing, and I wouldn't go back and change anything about it, the good, the bad. It's almost like you're living in a state of fog, and you just don't feel like you're like in your real body. So I don't know. That's like really weird to explain it that way, but I feel like you are like watching your life unfold from like above. You're not actually experiencing it. That's how it feels. So being back in the States, I just feel like completely comfortable again. Like, it feels so natural and normal, obviously, because the US is where we grew up. Let me get into actual products here. So I already did my skincare. I actually switched to a non-toxic brand called Dime Beauty Co. And it's something that I had been looking at for actually like 2 years. And I finally took the plunge once we moved back to America, because the shipping and ordering products in Romania was really tricky. I think I'm gonna have to move locations because Dakota's gonna come back and work in here. Okay, we're back. Okay, I hope that this yard work going on outside isn't very loud, because it seems like it's loud to me, but even though that was like one of the toughest times for us, it was also such a season of just like being refined, being in a state of isolation where you're like away from all of your friends and family. You're on a completely different time zones. If it was noon and I wanted to call somebody, like, I would have to wait until US time zone. Like, you just learn so much about yourself, and it's so crazy. I feel like I just came out of that time like so much more confident. Just like built this foundation and confidence in myself that I didn't have before. So that was really cool to experience. For concealer, I actually don't wear like a foundation. I just do concealer. So wherever you place this is gonna bring forward light. You just do these 4 spots. And then I stopped using a beauty blender. I use a brush now. I just feel like it blends so much easier. Oh, so I already did my skincare routine. I actually switched over all of my skincare to a non-toxic brand. So I have been researching Dime Beauty Co. And honestly, I've been wanting to use it for like 2 years, but I never pulled the trigger. And then moving abroad, like, we didn't have access to order those things. I just waited until we moved back. But once I finished up my old skincare, that was like the first thing I ordered, which I like it so far. So I use the vitamin C at night. I do the hyaluronic acid serum, and then I don't really like their moisturizers, honestly, because they're way too thick for my skin. So I might try to find something else. I use the jelly cleanser, which I like. I started getting this acne again on my face, so I use azelaic acid, which is honestly my holy grail. I love azelaic acid for acne treatment. It's like one of the best products ever. Above benzoyl peroxide, above salicylic acid. Obviously retinol is gonna be like the best, but azelaic acid for like an over-the-counter has been one of the best products. So I use that morning and night, and that's really, really been helping this situation. But I think it's because I shaved recently. I do shave my face. I've been doing that for like probably 6 years, but I think that's why I've been getting these spots on my face. So we kind of went into the Romanian experience. We wanted to at least give it 1 year to give it a fair shot. And then if we wanted to stay longer than that, we could. And if we wanted to leave, we could. So after the year point came up, we just decided that we were ready to move back. The main driving factor for us was definitely like wanting to start a family, and just because we weren't familiar with like the health system, I just didn't feel comfortable like giving birth there for the first time, like my first pregnancy, and we were moving into that season of like wanting to start our family. So I think if I had been through the process before, maybe I would have been more open to it. And I know like the healthcare system is amazing there. Like there's so many benefits and great things. But just because I have no knowledge of like that, how it works there, I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. So that was like the main reason why we wanted to come back. I think now being back in the States, we just like pretty much picked up right where we left off, and it just feels like completely familiar to us. So I did the concealer. I use the Kosas. This is a non-toxic brand. I really like it. Honestly, I don't feel like concealers really are that different. So they're just simple. For brows, I actually use this MAC. It's called Shape and Shade Brow Tint. I don't necessarily love this. It's like a brow pen on one side and then like powder on the other. I prefer like a brow pen for my brows, and so I actually have a different brand that I like to use that I couldn't order in Romania, so I just picked this up. So I like my brows to come in further. So they say like the tip where like the, what is this called? Your nostril? Where your nostril is to go straight up, like that's where you want your brows to start. So I just kind of shade in this front part a little bit. Okay, and then I just brush through that to like lighten it. I do tint my brows once a week with like an at-home, just like brow tinting, like a henna kit, which makes this routine so much easier. And it kind of just like fills everything in and makes them look fuller so that you don't have to do as much to them. So after I brush that through, I go in with the pen side and I just draw in little strokes like at the front to make it look like little hairs. Need to get a new one, I think. Then just brush it through to soften it again. It's crazy to look back honestly on the last year and like just the mental state that I was in, because I was in such like a numbness living there. Even though we moved to North Carolina, like we don't have friends or family here, it does just feel so like natural and comfortable, which is really interesting. But I think just because of everything we went through in moving abroad, like this transition here was 1,000 times easier, just because it already was like we're already familiar with the country and all that kind of stuff. So I think that makes a big difference. So moving here honestly was like cake. I can definitely already tell a difference like in my personality. I just feel like so much more open and comfortable. Like in Romania, I just didn't really want to go out. I felt just like really introverted, didn't really want to like socialize or go out. I just felt, I don't know, I guess going back to like just feeling numb. And now being here, I am like super excited to meet people. Like I started meeting people like the first month that we were here. I feel like I already am like in such just a different mental place. For bronzer, I actually use a cream bronzer. This is actually like a body shimmer that I put on for a bronzer, and it has a shimmer in it, so it gives you more of like a glowy bronze on your face, but I feel like this looks more natural. I joined a book club here, which I'm getting ready to start the second phase of. We just finished our first book. We've been doing it for 6 weeks. I have started like meeting friends and going out. I think overall I just feel like mentally so good and so like open to new experiences and like wanting to get out and socialize. I think especially because I was so like secluded and isolated in this whole last year seasons, like due to my own doing. But now being here, I'm like itching to make friends and meet people. So it feels nice to want to be doing that. So pretty much for my base, that's all I do. Just bronzer and spot conceal. And honestly, like, I won't go in and cover any of these red spots. I feel like it just looks more natural when you leave your skin peeking through. Like, I'm not trying to cover up everything and make it flawless. Like, I just want to basically even out this around my eyes and then add dimension back into the face, like with the bronzer. If I want to spot conceal, I'll go in with this Lancome concealer. That's like the same shade as my skin, where like the concealer is obviously lighter under my eyes. And then I like to add some bronzer on the tip of my nose. I honestly don't usually do eyeshadow. If I do, I'll just take like whatever's left over on my bronzer and just rub that on my eyelids to keep the look cohesive. I've been loving not wearing mascara recently, but when I do wear mascara, I love this Essence Lash Princess. This is literally one of the best mascaras I've ever tried. I also love the Lancome Monsieur Big if you want to do a splurge, but this is literally like $4 at the drugstore, and it's one of the best mascaras I've ever tried. I keep going back to this over and over. I found a little trick actually where you place highlighter under your eyes. So I feel like adding a little bit of highlighter helps just reflect the light away and helps bring a more even tone. So going back to this question, I think the hardest part for me, honestly, has been transitioning back into the States, being sucked back into hustle culture. I don't even really know how to put it into words. I feel like in the US, there is such a pressure to have this hustle culture. There is just such a pressure to like always have more and always be doing more, and it's honestly exhausting. So we've been back for 3 months, and almost every single conversation I have had, that is such a topic of conversation. It's like almost the only thing people talk about. It just feels like there's this unspoken pressure to like live your life by these standards and these rules that aren't even set. Like, it's just kind of like what society has built and deemed to be the path. And if you don't follow that, I feel like there's like this almost like unspoken shame and pressure to live your life by certain standards. In Romania, I feel like everybody just took such pride in every job that they did, and it didn't matter where you worked or what your job was. Where I feel like here there's such a pressure to like have the biggest and the best title and be at the top of the chain. I think that's the thing I'm struggling with the most. I'm gonna be done. So all I did was just top off the under eye with a little bit of setting powder. I do use the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I know this has been like the it powder for like literally 10 years. It's okay to me. There are a couple other powders that I prefer, but I'm trying to be minimal and go through products before I buy more, because I used to be such a makeup hoarder. 6 drawers full of makeup. It was bad. I just think it's so important to build that foundation for like what you want your life to look like and what you value and what you find important, because it can be so easy to get sucked into like feeling like you have to do certain things or you have to like live your life by certain standards. It just feels really freeing to have a foundation, and for me and my husband to be on the same page, like what we expect, what we want in life, what we want our future to look like what we want our family to look like. And when we can go back to those foundations, it feels less pressurizing to have everybody's outside voices constantly telling you like, you should be doing this, or why aren't you doing this, or like, are you going to do this? You really have to be strong through that, and just realizing like what's important to you and what life do you want to live, because at the end of the day, like, you're the only person living your life, and you have to be okay with the choices that you make. And it honestly doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, because they're not living your life like you are. I don't think people do it from a place of ill intent. It's just really like what our culture has become. So it's been a little bit tricky to like adjust to that again. On a lighter note, the food has been really hard to adjust to again here. There are so many sweets and treats all around, and it is extremely convenient and easy to have access to bad food, which makes it really hard to make good food choices. We have to be way more disciplined because there are so many just convenient sweets and treats all around us. So that has definitely been a little bit tricky, especially because some of our like favorite ice cream stores are within a 10-minute drive, and it's easy just to be like, oh, we have a craving for ice cream, let's go get ice cream. Where before, like, we had to walk everywhere and we weren't gonna walk 20 minutes to get ice cream. So most of the time, like, we just avoided those things because it was just inconvenient. I feel like overall there are honestly so many pros and cons to every country. We don't really know where life is gonna take us. Oh, my light. No. Okay, my light actually died from my phone and the lighting was so bad inside, so I'm moving outside to finish just wrapping up this last section of the vlog. So what I was saying is we really don't know where life is going to take us in this next season. We have talked a lot about possibly moving to Spain. That has definitely been on our topic of conversation. It won't be anytime soon, honestly, but we just reflect on the month that we spent in Malaga, Spain, and how beautiful it was. So many amazing cultural differences that we just feel like would really benefit our future family. So something to just keep in our back pocket, and honestly we're just staying open to the possibilities of like where life will take us. When you stay flexible, you are staying open to life's blessings. It is exciting to think about, like, as long as we have each other, it doesn't really matter where we're gonna be. There are so many places that we still want to try in the world, so honestly I don't really know where life will take us. We love North Carolina. It's been really great and beautiful here so far. The weather has been amazing in the summer. It is beautiful scenery here with so much nature and walking trails and such, which we appreciate. We like it here, but there's just something about it that doesn't feel like forever, if that makes sense. I'm just really excited to continue experiencing life, learning and growing with you guys, and I will definitely keep you updated on our journey and where we end up. I love being able to just document what we're going through in each season and sharing that with you guys. So thank you so much for being here today, and I cannot wait to see you next time.